Thank you. Welcome back to the Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 City Council meeting of the City of San Juan Bautista. We are coming out of closed session. It is 6:12. Attorney Giffen, will you please take us out of closed session?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council and public, the City Council met in closed session on item 2A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9 E2, one case. The council heard from the city attorney, and there's nothing to report out on that matter. And on item 2B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Orozco versus City of San Juan Bautista, California Government Code Section 54956.9 D1. The City Council also heard from the city attorney on that matter, and there is nothing to report out.
Thank you. I would like to now call for a moment of silence. And Scott, I apologize. I don't know your mom's name. For the passing of Karen Friels, Councilmember Scott Friels' mom. So if we can take a moment, please. Thank you. We have a couple of proclamations. One is a proclamation recognizing and thanking the Donald R. Clausen Trust for its generous donation to the San Juan Bautista Library. Whereas libraries serve as a vital community institution that promotes literacy, lifelong learning, cultural enrichment, and equal access to knowledge for residents for all ages. And whereas the San Juan Bautista Library continues to provide valuable educational resources, programs, and services that strengthen the community and enhance the quality of life for residents and visitors alike. Whereas the Donald R. Clausen Trust has demonstrated outstanding generosity and commitment to the preservation and advancement of community resources through its charitable contributions. And whereas the generous donation provided by the Donald R. Clausen Trust to the San Juan Bautista Library will support the continued growth, improvement, and sustainability of library services and programs for current and future generations. And whereas acts of philanthropy and community partnership such as this inspire civic pride and help ensure that public institutions remain strong and accessible to all. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista does hereby express its sincere appreciation and gratitude to the Donald R. Clausen Trust for its generous donation and unwavering support of the San Juan Bautista Library and the community it serves. Be it further proclaimed that the City Council extends its heartfelt thanks and recognition for this meaningful contribution, which will have a lasting positive impact on the residents of San Juan Bautista. Thank you so much. Is there anybody to accept this proclamation? Thank you. And would you like to say a few words?
We appreciate Don Clausen's generosity.
Thank you.
Ariel, you? Oh, Victor. Oh, you. Uh-oh. I'm sorry? I'm Dee Dee Hanania. I worked at the library for almost 19 years.
And I'm Rochelle, the current librarian. Dee Dee knew Mr. Clausen and thanks him for his kindness.
What do you need?
Get out of the way.
Okay. Good enough.
One. And three. We need one more. One. Two and three. Got it. See.
Where did he live?
The next proclamation is the Historical Preservation Month, May 2026. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes, thank you. Whereas the city of San Juan Bautista is proud to recognize May 2026 as Historic Preservation Month, a national observance established in 1973 by the National Trust for Historic Preservation to celebrate the heritage of our cities and states. And whereas in 2026, as United States marks the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, preservation takes on a special significance by highlighting sites that bring its most powerful promise to life, that all people are created equal, and celebrating the places that tell the full American history, including those that demonstrate the ongoing journey towards equality. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for residents of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas historic preservation brings economic, educational, and environmental benefits to the city of San Juan Bautista by fostering heritage tourism, revitalizing neighborhoods, and reducing waste by reusing existing buildings. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the significant ongoing contributions of the individuals and organizations, including the San Juan Bautista Historic Society, who work to preserve our local historic sites, buildings, and neighborhoods. Whereas therefore, Mayor Jordan, on behalf of the City of San Juan Bautista Council, do hereby proclaim, do hereby, that's a repeat, sorry, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Historic Preservation Month, and call upon the residents to join in recognizing and participating in the preservation of our diverse heritage and to celebrate the power of place in our community. And looks like there's actually two properties that are listed in the agenda, if you're looking at the agenda. And the Historical Preservation Awards go to a private residence on 39 Washington Street and a public building, which is the VFW Post number 6359 on 58 Monterey Street for
Thank you.
those two properties.
Thank you. Do we have somebody coming up to accept the proclamation and to talk about the properties?
Oh. Yes, thank you. And May is National Historic Preservation Month. And so the San Juan Bautista Historical Society did nominate these two properties. And we really appreciate how the owners have been good stewards of these properties, and hopefully they'll continue in their good state for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. So 39 Washington Street, the property at 39 Washington Street is being honored for the thoughtful preservation of one of San Juan Bautista's remaining Queen Anne cottages. Built in 1906, the home retains many of its original architectural features, including its steeply pitched roof, decorative gables, wood siding, and historic windows. Through responsible stewardship, the owners have preserved an important piece of the city's residential history and contributed to the authentic historic character of the community. Do we have anybody from 39 Washington Street? The Leslie L. Garrett VFW post number 6359 on 58 Monterey Street is being recognized for its exceptional stewardship and preservation of an important community landmark in San Juan Bautista, constructed between 1948 and 1951 through volunteer labor and community support. The Monterey Revival Style Hall reflects the spirit and dedication of local veterans and residents. The preservation of its original adobe construction, wood detail, porch features, and historic character continues to enhance the city's historic atmosphere and cultural identity. Do we have anybody here from VFW? No. Thank you all. That'd be perfect. Thank you. Public Work Week. Councilmember Friels.
Go. All right. Okay, Public Works Week, May 17th through 23rd, 2026. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of San Juan Bautista. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supplies, water treatment, solid waste treatment, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential to our residents. And whereas it is in the public interest for the residents, civic leaders, and the children in San Juan Bautista to gain knowledge and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their communities. And whereas the 2026 national theme, Ready and Resilient, recognizes the ability of these professionals to perform essential duties while serving as first responders during disasters. And therefore, I, Mayor Jordan, on behalf of San Juan Bautista City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 17th through May 23rd, 2026, National Public Works Week, and urge all residents to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in these activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life.
I'd like to say a few words here. Tonight, well, I'm Nick Bryan. I'm the Public Works Supervisor. I'm joined tonight with Wen Hernandez Flores. And I want to acknowledge my teammates that couldn't join us this evening. That would be Paul, Louis, Francisco, and Meno, our lead landscape, and you guys probably seen him around his hard work with the parks and all that. I just want to say I'm really proud of the accomplishments of our team, and it's just it's a real privilege and honor to serve this council, this administration, and this community. I think it's very special here and just really glad to be here and with this work with this team. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do for the city. We really appreciate all you. We have 3 other proclamations that we are not going to read through. One is Older Americans Month, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and LGBTQ plus Pride Month. Next up, we have public comment. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. And please fill out a speaker card. Do we have any speaker cards for public comment?
We do. In chambers, we have Bill Adams. You may now approach the podium. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Adams. It is. I think it is.
Thank you. My name's Bill Adams. I live at 705 Second Street. Each month I appear at the city council meeting and I urge you to enforce municipal code before an accident occurs at my home. This violation is clear cut. Municipal code states that a front yard hedge and fence be no taller than 3 feet. The code is clearly written to ensure public safety. In April, I had 3 additional close calls due to obstructed visibility on the 8th, the 11th, and the 20th. Each time a dog on a leash was ahead of its owner, they don't see me leaving my property and I don't see them coming. This code violation is dictating public policy. Please look at the photo that I provided. The installation of a temporary traffic mirror gave us a few feet of sidewalk visibility. Now with the reinstallation of the adjacent fence, we have 0 visibility from the height of our car. The photo is a photo I took from the car out towards the sidewalk. The city's generous offer of a win-win variance was rejected and no longer exists. Beginning 3 years and we're back where we started, a 6-foot front yard hedge and a 6-foot fence at our adjacent driveway. But it gives you the opportunity to make it a win for pedestrians. Return to the code and reduce the entire hedge to 3 feet and the fence. The potential for accidents creates enormous liability. The city initiates events and activities that draw people to the city. The city needs to ensure their safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Linda Jin. You may now approach the podium.
Hi, welcome.
I'm here to talk about the street fairs. I would like to invest in a different promoter. I've tried working with the one for the last 10 years and he doesn't seem to want to work with a lot of us merchants. I am not the only one that has complaints. I don't have any pictures, unfortunately, but just the view that we get from our stores. This year I brought balloons, big bouquet of balloons, and the bar has to put a sign out in the street to get noticed. The other thing that's been a beef for me, the first 5 years, we didn't have the same city manager. We had a new one, so he got away with stuff all the time. I tried working with him. There's 2 things I've asked him over the years. Please give us a visible walkway to our businesses okay? He can map out, there's a lot of dead spaces with fences and closed buildings. He's been doing this so long that he could map them out and put the bigger tents that have the backs on them in those dead spaces. And I've asked him and begged him to make sure that his vendors keep their merchandise either under the tables in their booth or go put it back in their cars or trailers. They leave it on the back of their tents, and I have a picture of that. And of course, since we've been feuding, he doesn't even come down to my block anymore. The tent that was right there, we had to pick her up and move her because she was in the bar's walkway. He doesn't come and check enough. He's by himself and he doesn't have enough help, which he should hire somebody. So Dawn is the only one that's ever worked with me. Here's another nice thing from Art and Craft. This sat on my sidewalk all day long. He didn't even come and look. It's horse poop. And not just a little bit. It looks like a little bit. I filled half of a trash bag with it. I called him. He came down. I didn't get a chance to call him because I was busy and I was happy and I complimented at the end and he did sweep it up, but he didn't, or the city did not walk the streets. That's been a big beef of mine. One of these days we're going to have an accident. And the other thing, I keep bringing up Don, but Don worked with the merchants and he let us know who was going to be on the days of the fair and their phone number. This is the last two that I've asked. You guys have given us an email and city manager, I've requested several meetings with you. I've left phone calls. You've never even had the courtesy to call me back. I didn't even know what you look like. And I know you've been here a while, but everybody knows it's slow. You took the funding away from Spirit of San Juan that they were using for advertise. I hope the city is using
Thank
that
you.
money wisely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jason can't come.
Do we have
to all
any
our
other
meetings.
public comments?
We have no additional public comments.
Thank you. Public hearing, if it is okay with the council, I would like to change up the order and put the fee schedule ahead of weed abatement. We good with that? Thank you. Okay, we are going with B first. Approve a resolution updating the master fee schedule for the city services. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, members of the public. I'm gonna kind of set the stage here before Khushbu gives her presentation. She'll be patient with me for one moment. Okay, so for more than a decade, and in some cases longer, many of the city's fees were either minimally adjusted or not updated at all. During that same period, the cost of providing services continued to increase, including staff time, professional review, inspections, technology, compliance requirements, and administrative support. And over time, the gap between what the city charged and what it actually cost to provide the services steadily widened. For a small city like San Juan Bautista, those gaps matter. When fees do not keep pace with the actual cost of service delivery, the difference is absorbed by the general fund, placing additional pressure on the city's limited discretionary resources and reducing flexibility to address infrastructure, public safety, and other operational priorities. This fee study is part of a broader effort to address long-term fiscal sustainability and improve operational stability. The goal is not to generate excess revenue, but to establish a more transparent, predictable, and defensible framework that better aligns fees with the actual cost of providing services while remaining consistent with state law. This discussion is also connected to the larger budget conversation the council will continue over the coming weeks. The city is at a point where deferred adjustments and delayed investments can no longer be ignored without creating larger long-term impacts. Updating the city's fee structure is one of several steps being taken to improve financial sustainability, strengthen internal operations, and reduce long-term pressure on the general fund. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Kushbu.
Thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Ashley. Good evening, Council. I just have a brief presentation similar to what we presented the last time, but just kind of reiterating some of the points that Ashley made. I'm going to just send a request to be able to share my screen so I can give the presentation. And so just jumping right in, really, why do jurisdictions do a fee study? It's really important to document what your services are, what the service level assumptions are, and then ensure that you're truly capturing the full cost, direct and indirect, associated with those services. As Ashley mentioned, there are certain state rules and regulations that dictate what you can and can't charge for fees. So it's really important to do a fee study to ensure that you're in compliance with those rules and regulations. Along with that, it also aligns with financial best practices. The reason for doing a fee study, like Ashley mentioned, is that it does create an impact on the general fund. And when you're looking at that impact, you want to look at who's benefiting from these services that are fee related. If something is a larger community benefit, things like public safety, things like basic maintenance needs, then those are things where it makes more sense to be funded through general fund or taxpayers or residents. Then there's services that have sort of a mixed benefit. They have some community benefit, things like code compliant or recreation services, but they also have a private benefit. Somebody is individually benefiting from those services. So usually those tend to be somewhat subsidized or can be at a lower cost recovery rate. And then we get to the highly individualized services. Things like building permits or planning applications, engineering reviews, facility rentals. You know, if I'm renting a facility, I am the only person, me and my friends and my family are the only people kind of benefiting from that facility rental. So it's a very privatized benefit. And those are primarily considered best practice to be funded entirely by user fees, because again, those who are receiving the service should pay for the fair share of the costs associated with that service rather than burdening the other residents or the other taxpayers with that. Talking a little bit about the overall process and the approach of the study, we start with taking a look at what are the city's existing fees. You know, do we have everything codified? Are there things in the municipal code that are not kind of printed out? Are there other things that are not transparently available? So just kind of making sure that we have all of the fees codified. Are there new or trending fees that we're seeing in other cities, making sure that we're identifying those? Are there things that are outdated that you're no longer doing? Like Ashley mentioned, it's been so long since the cities looked at these fees, making sure that you're appropriately capturing all those services. Like we mentioned, making sure that there is legal compliance, because again, at the end of the day, that's one of the key components of this study. I'll talk a little bit more when I talk about the methodology, about the time assumptions and the fully burdened rates, but again, capturing what's the true cost associated and the true effort associated with each service line item. We did do a comparative look at what other agencies around you are charging for similar types of services. While not always a super helpful tool, because every city is different, and you know, a lot of jurisdictions like yours may not have done studies in a long time, so the fees that they're charging may not reflect their true cost of providing that service. It can still give you an idea of where and how the city's current and full cost fees fall, and then ultimately putting it together in a transparent master fee schedule. So the first of its kind for the city, where all of the fees are listed and itemized. So diving into the methodology itself, there's two key components. We're looking at the time estimate, so the time that it takes for staff to provide each of the different fee line items. So when we're talking about the time associated with each of those activities, we're not talking about the hardest thing that the staff has ever processed or the easiest application the staff has ever processed. We're really talking about what's that typical average time it takes. Having done these types of studies across California, across the country, we have a generally a good idea of what it takes to provide certain types of services. If we hear something where it seems extraordinarily out of the realm of the possibility, we'll always question it and ask staff, is there a reason why there's something unique to San Juan Bautista that's causing this to take so much more time or so much less time? Because we really want to make sure that we're truly capturing that average amount of time it takes to process these activities. We take that time assumption and we multiply it by what we call the fully burdened rate. We really want to stress this is not someone's take home pay. This is really what it costs the city to employ this position or this person. And what we're really looking at is your budgeted salaries, your budgeted benefits. So again, a council approved documentation. We're looking at your productive hours. So taking a look at the city's personnel rules of how many holidays, vacations, sick leaves are guaranteed, mandatory trainings that are needed for certain types of classifications. We then take into account any sort of services and supplies that you need to do your basic everyday job and provide these fee-related services. So, computers, pens, papers, those types of items. We also layer in any sort of supervisory or administrative support. So, the director or the manager who's really overseeing the work of the person doing these activities. And then lastly, any sort of citywide overhead. So council, city manager, city attorney, these costs that are really in relation to providing these services. So we take that time estimate, we multiply it by that fully burdened rate per position, and we essentially come up with what we call the full cost of the service. This is essentially the maximum justifiable fee that can be assessed. There is one small caveat to that, that anything that is recreation related can be set at a different amount. Either higher or lower than that baseline cost calculated for recreation services. And the reasoning for that is under the state law, while it states that, fees cannot be more than the cost associated with providing it, there is one exception for recreation because these are fees that are not imposed upon you. So you don't have to rent the city's park. You don't have to rent the city's field. You can utilize other private entities or other jurisdictions. There's no imposition upon you to do that. But if you're building a house within the city, you do have to pay the building permit. If you are, building a driveway or updating your driveway, you do have to get that encroachment permit. So that is a fee that's imposed. So therefore, that fee cannot be set more than its cost. Whereas something that's voluntary, like renting a facility or renting a park or a field, that's something that can be set at a different rate and based on what the market can bear. Kind of showing this in a more detailed methodology. So when we look at something like the yard sale permit, the actual time associated with processing that permit, pretty quick, about 15 minutes of time on average. We take that 15 minutes of time and we multiply it by that fully burdened rate. So again, that $155 that you see here, that's not someone's take-home pay. That is the fully loaded cost associated with that employee, so all of their salaries, their benefits, and all of those different types of overhead that we mentioned. And that's essentially how we come up with that roughly $38. And then you'll see that actually the decimals would round it up to 39, but per state law, we're keeping it conservative and rounding it down actually to the nearest dollar. So that's where that total cost comes from. So for each individual line item on the fee schedule, there is this type of backup detail and calculation available. So overall, we looked at roughly 200 plus line items. Really, a lot of the services were about making sure that we could modernize the city's existing fee schedule. So creating new fee structures for things like engineering, modernizing planning services, updating building fees to again be reflective of the current types of projects, creating a brand new kind of consolidated recreation and special events fee, and then again, the new vacancy registration monthly fee, and I believe there's a mobile food facilities and sidewalk vending fee also that's been created. So as part of this, again, making sure that we're taking a look at all of the different types of services that the city's providing and what does it truly cost to provide those different services. So basically the next steps are you do have a proposed master fee schedule in front of you. You as council do have the prerogative to set those fees at any amount, essentially below that full cost, except for recreation, you can set it at a different amount. As part of this, we always do recommend that councils consider an annual fee escalator. So like Ashley mentioned, that what doesn't happen is that, 2, 5, 7 years from now, you're still charging the same fees. So you want to kind of keep up with the pace of inflation and make sure that whatever cost recovery goals you're setting tonight, whether it be 100% or a different level, that you're maintaining that cost recovery target as the costs continue to increase annually. And then ultimately, you'd want to reevaluate these fees again in roughly about 5 to 7 years. Usually within that time frame, there's been enough changes, either services transitioning from in-house to contract or vice versa, or different staff, or different processes or technology changes that would cause the assumptions behind these fees to change. And with that, I will stop presenting and open it up to your questions.
Thank you very much for that. Council questions. Councilmember Friels?
I'm still somewhat absorbing all the amount of fees that we never charged. Definitely an eye opener. There are some that I've had a chance to talk to the city manager about too, like there's some confusion about who a resident and a non-resident is. If you don't live in this town, you're not a resident of this town. So for example, like the ballpark or the the parks and the community center, we should really make sure we specify that, like community hall rent, it says city resident or county resident. The county never gave us a dime to build that community center, so they're considered non-residents. And then nonprofits, it's we don't charge nonprofits at all, and now it's $843. That's brutal. That's brutal. I agree with I think the damage deposit, the cleaning deposit should go up on the community center. And then on the community hall rental events that include alcohol, it says 15%. What do you know what the 15% is of? Is it 15%? Yeah.
It's a 15% of the total rental fee that you would pay. So it's just a surcharge that's added on for any event that includes alcohol.
Okay. And do we write alcohol licensing fees or permits? I didn't think that was in our.
Coach Boot, can you explain that particular fee, the alcohol licensing fee?
Yeah, so that it's less so kind of an like permit to kind of have alcohol. It's more of because you're going to be renting the community hall and you're going to, let's say, I'm just going to make something up, like a wedding reception, and you want to have alcohol served at that wedding reception. So that alcohol permit goes through the state ADC licensing for the actual vendor that would provide the alcohol. But this is a separate fee that the city would charge for the insurance piece, for the risk aspect of having alcohol being served at one of the city facilities. So the city is not actually permitting the alcohol piece. They're just collecting an additional surcharge for somebody serving alcohol there. That permit comes through the state aspect.
Okay. Don't quite agree with that one. Because we do have insurance on the hall. The ballpark, there's one on the baseball field, and we did discuss this earlier. That's a bit much, $50 per hour. If we have a tournament there that's 2 days long, that's what little league teams are going to be able to afford that. And I would sure hope the junior giants are waived on that one. I don't agree with that one either. I do feel we should charge something for our ballpark, but $50 an hour is a bit high. And then I'm glad you brought up yard sale permit. If we have somebody in our city hall that takes 15 minutes to fill out a 3-line yard sale permit, then maybe we need to find somebody else. So yeah, I mean, I get it. A lot of large cities do a lot of these fees, and like I said, I didn't even know some of them even existed. I would have subdivision map checks and things like that. Isn't that done on the county end? The county assessor's office does that? Maybe Victor can explain that one to me, but that doesn't seem like something that we do on our end. Lot line mergers, same thing. Utility encroachment. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff we need to I'm still digesting this. So I'm not too ready to make any decisions on this. That's just me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Thank you for the report. And I agree that this is something that really needed to be done. Hasn't been done in, I think, over a decade, maybe 13 years. Yes, everything's gone up. I just want people to keep in mind that in our own personal finances and cost of livings, if you look back 13 years ago, we are not paying the same prices for gasoline, for groceries, for rent, for mortgages, etc. So it only makes sense that the city takes the proactive approach to update our fees. Some of them are sticker shock, but once again, we're 2026. The one that kind of pops out at me, I'm not going to go by every single category, but I think one that needs to be charged a lot more is the film permit. And I believe that's for movies coming into our town and filming. Is that correct? Production of films?
Yes, and just to clarify that that film permit is just for the staff time to process. And then there would be additional fees usually typically paid by the filming company for any kind of staff resources utilized on an hourly basis. And then if they actually film at a city facility, they would pay the rental rate for that city facility. So the park or the field or city or the community hall. So there would be additional fees tacked on.
Okay, so I understand that makes sense, but I still think $379 is way low ball for a company to come in here and access our beautiful backdrop of our mission, historic buildings, our ambiance. I think that fee should probably be $1,000 if they turn around and did this movie like they did recently. They're bringing in multi-million-dollar, profit. So I'd like to see that one go up. The rest, I'm not going to speak to that right now, but in general terms, I think this was much needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Going through this and looking through it line by line, we've talked about this a few times around. I don't really have a thank you, Kushbu, for your report. Thank you, Ashley, for getting us together, and Roy. I don't have a standing to go back through or the background to argue the dollar amount of anything. Things have gone up. We should be charging for our services. I think thinking back to over my almost four years on council, December's coming quick. We really get what we pay for, right? Like we are dealing with a lot of issues right now with the city, with the previous city management, hand waving and allowing lots of different things. And so getting this all tightened up, updated, and right, it's just like our housing, like things we got to do. This is part of doing our homework, I think. And some of these things, like, man, things cost money now. Things are expensive. And so getting our fees updated for these things to me makes sense. This is the approval, right? This is what we're asking for. We're not looking for another discussion after this. Okay, just want to make sure.
Thank you. I've been asking for this for almost 8 years now. December's coming quick. Ashley, I appreciate all the time and consideration that the staff has put towards this. Kushbu, what an amazing endeavor this is to pull this together. This is the third time we've seen this now. I think second, and we missed a meeting, but have had the packet for quite some time. I had a couple of questions, and I apologize for not getting them out to you. Ashley asked me to do that. So if you'll indulge me for a second. There is a request, it's on page 12, additional fees that may apply. A request for duplicate plans if the city is asking for a set of duplicate, why do I have to pay that if I'm making
It,
them?
it's if the applicant's requesting the city
Right.
for a set of duplicates. No, the city's not requesting the applicant. The applicant is asking, so the applicant lost their plans and they're asking the city to give them
Yep.
another copy of it.
Sure, I get that. Thank you. I spoke with the city manager earlier about the utilization of the city's the use of the storage tank and a fee that could be associated with that. Vacancy comes in a couple of times, and in my opinion, it's a little low, a lot low. It doesn't say whether it's building owner vacancy or tenant vacancy. We have a couple of, and I don't know if there's a if we're going to distinguish between or a vacancy is a vacancy. We have a couple of shop owners who have not opened their store fronts on 3rd Street. So that's not really a vacancy. That's a failure to honor your business license, and having a business on 3rd Street, our main street, our business district. Could we have a fee associated with that for not opening your store? And then for vacancy for building owners, I think it was $4.93 a month, or was that the three? There was another one that was $3.16. A vacancy registration fee per property per month. Can you explain the difference between those two?
Yeah, I believe the first vacancy fee is in relation to kind of the code enforcement notice of like they're actually the code enforcement officer going out and putting out the notice and giving them that information, whereas the vacancy registration fee is part of the vacancy registration ordinance the city passed, which is really more about registering the property if it's vacant and kind of essentially paying every month that the property remains vacant. So that's the difference between the two, whereas the vacancy fee is more about issuing kind of that notice of violation and the code enforcement officer's time to go out there, whereas the vacancy registration fee is kind of a monthly penalty that you're paying for keeping the property vacant.
Okay, and does that take into account the size of the building or what the previous use of that building is, whether it's retail or hospitality?
This current fee, because of the way it's set up, does not, because it's more meant to kind of, again, be, even though it's sort of a penalty, the way the fee is set up in the ordinance is it's meant to be kind of a service-based fee. So it's still covering staff time to maintain that registration annually and work with that property annually on a per month basis. If you were to pursue something like what you're saying, which other jurisdictions have, that falls then more into kind of a tax category. And so that's a little bit of a different procedure of adopting that type of fee calculation or that type of number to capture that impact.
So there's right now with a fee schedule, there's no way to capture monies for a vacant building except for code enforcement.
So the vacancy registration fee is still the fee that you would pay for vacant building. It's just not, the staff time isn't dependent on the size of the building or what the building was previously, which is why that fee amount is just a set fee amount per property per month, because it's kind of in compliance with what the city's ordinance was that got adopted for that piece. And then the other vacancy fee is, again, if you're going out there to give that notice of violation of, hey, you haven't paid your vacancy registration fee or you're in violation of this component. That's what that other fee is meant to cover. But there is no fee to offset the sort of fiscal impact to the city of the loss of kind of property tax or sales tax associated with the business not running or the property not being kind of occupied or utilized in a certain way.
And the way to do that would be through a tax, and that would have to
Yeah.
go to the voters.
Yeah, that's the more standard approach that the jurisdictions that have been successful in kind of what I would say large dollar value or more
Yeah.
size based or service that they've found to be more successful is through that approach, because then they can kind of account for more fiscal impact that's not necessarily time based.
Got it. Understood. Thank you for that explanation. Bear with me for a moment, just scrolling. It's the baseball field rental per hour. I was not in favor of this until two separate entities who are now utilizing the ballpark said we should have a ballpark fee. So thanks for the forethought in putting a baseball rental fee on that. I had the same question about residential versus non-residential renting our facilities, and then both being the same.
It is pretty common within cities to have a different fee.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's
very-
what my question was. Can we do that?
It's
Yeah.
fairly common.
Yeah. I also had the alcohol one. Thank you for that. And I think that's all the other ones that I had that haven't been answered. Thank you very much for putting this together. Go ahead.
Cannabis related violation, is this outside of the adult recreational use law that was passed a few years ago? What determines this violation?
Kushbu, if you're not able to answer that, I think that speaks to our code, and that fee is updated based on what our previous fee schedule was, that violation. So I don't know if Ariel or Victor can.
So what
answer.
specifically is the violation? There is a law that says adults can have X number of plants for personal use. So what is the city saying is a violation that would determine that they're in a violation of that code, of our code?
I think Ariel
Yeah,
is.
I can look at it. Yeah, I can look it up, but it's technically in your municipal code. So all we were doing through this process was just codifying it on the fee schedule. So on the city's municipal code, there's a cannabis related violation with the per day max of this. So that's what that line item is meant to represent. But I can try and quickly look up the code to see what the specific language is.
Thank you. And Ariel Goodspeed is making her way to the front and might or might not have an answer for that. Thank you, our city planner.
Thank you.
Yes, Kushbu did hit on it, but I'll just expand a little bit more. So anything that requires you to get a cannabis permit application. So again, it's similar to any other code violation, right? If they aren't getting the correct permits that they're needed, well, then they're in violation, and there's a fee or a fine or an abatement cost associated with that. So there's a specific cannabis violation fine cost. And so that's what that is. But if you're under the law of what you are allowed to do, then you're not going to be to that.
So you're specifically addressing like maybe sales, storage. I mean, this is like sales. This is not personal, private use for those adults.
Yes, that's under law enforcement, not us.
And then I did want to touch on what you said, Mayor, because I had forgotten to mention that. Was very good point you brought up about the business owners, the storefronts. Thank you, Ariel, that have pulled the permit, and for whatever reason, they have not opened their shops at all, or they're not consistent with the permit stating what they're doing, and what their operation of hours are.
Thank you. I would like to now open it for
Could I-
public.
Could I just quick comment? It'll be quick.
Sure.
So, yeah, I just, I just don't want it to sound like I wasn't in favor of this fee schedule, the schedule update. It's been what, 2013 since we did the last one? I mean, we definitely need it. We are, and I realize like everybody else, it's crazy expensive to live here. I just, it's a lot to absorb. That was
yeah.
my point, is that a lot to absorb. And I still don't think we should be charging $50 an hour for a baseball park.
Okay, I'd like to now open it to public hearing.
Yes, in chambers, we have Chris Mortorana. You may now approach the podium.
Hi, thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. I have a couple of comments. What appears in the packet is 100% cost recovery fees and does not really address what Kushbu's slide spoke to the philosophy behind who should be paying for those. And that, I think, Scott, directly to your comment about the fee for the baseball park. We don't necessarily want to be recovering the full cost. It's a public benefit. So we probably do want to subsidize that. And there's plenty of other fees in there, I think, that fall in that category, but everything that's listed here is full cost recovery. I don't think that was the intent I don't think anybody really intends for that to be the case. So that needs to be looked at. I think there was going to be a public workshop on this that was then canceled. And I think it would be a really great idea to have a public workshop or a couple of public workshops, because this is covering an awful lot of territory to get a fairly short amount of time to review and make comments. There's a lot of questions. I have a ton of questions. Tree permit. There's a tree permit fee, but I can't find a tree permit requirement in anything in the municipal code. Dog tags. We're spinning our wheels with dog tags. We issue almost no dog tags. We really need to think about whether we should be bothering with that. Same with garage sales. I've never gotten a garage sale permit. I've had 20 garage sales.
Can we recapture that?
You can, the code enforcement's there. He can talk to me after. There's the questions, for instance, annual utility encroachment permit. What's that? Investigation. What's that? Most importantly, though, your resolution, the binder in front of you, does not have the fee schedule in there. There is no fee schedule that says it's attached for you to pass the resolution. It is not in there. So you cannot pass this tonight. I've got the packet here if anybody'd like to look at it. Okay, so Scott, if you look at what you're looking at, read it, it shows the old fee, the new fee, the recommended fee. What's the fee? It doesn't say what the fee is. You're really going to charge me $487 per tree to cut down a tree? But I don't think that schedule that's in there is what you're intending to publish to the community. I think you got a step you're missing here, and I don't think you can pass this at all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next in chambers, we have Kara Vong. You may now approach the podium.
Hi, welcome.
Good evening. Is that me?
Yep,
Sorry.
you're done.
Oh,
No,
that's a start. Okay.
sorry, hang on one second while we get the timer. There you go.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Cara Vonk, San Juan Bautista. I'm here to comment on the proposed fee schedule. It is the first time I've ever seen it, and I'm very concerned about many of the fees that are in here. And I would like to start with planning. And I'm going to start with the Historic Resources Review. As you know, we're a city of history. Our policy seems to be to promote our history and the maintenance and upkeep of our historic properties. First of all, we have an adopted historic resource survey and inventory. Many of those listed appear to be historic, but they need further review or evaluation. So under the new plan, the evaluation is going to be the actual cost. And I have personally gone through this. I paid $1,500 to have a review done by an architectural historian, but she's no longer with us. I understand that the company Rincon is providing that service now, and I believe they're asking for $2,500 to do that review. So that's the very first thing that you have to do. Then, if you want to repair a window or replace a roof, that is called administrative. You can go up to the counter and ask to be permitted to do that. $4,067. Are you kidding? Then if we added a small bathroom and a bedroom, so it had to go, it went before the planning commission. Now it's $7,000 to do that in addition to all of the other permits that you need to get. You know what? This is a recipe for evasion and noncompliance. Who is going to do this? Who has a historic home to incur all of these additional fees? It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm moving on to number two, my number two, appeals. Appealing from a planning commission, decision, $7,000. That is a violation of due process. That is way too burdensome. And if you look at the other jurisdictions, I think there was one that required 1,000 and the others are way less. Any other appeal, same thing, 7,000. So I guess if you've got a problem with the building inspector or somebody like that and you want to appeal it, $7,000. That is really, in my book, prohibitive. Okay, number three, tree removal was mentioned. We don't even have a tree ordinance. So what are you reviewing? I did pay $25 for a permit. Oh my God. I'm only at number three. Community hall, $843.
Sorry.
It's
your
a
time is up.
community, it's a community hall. We have yoga there, on
Car-
Tuesdays and
Your
Thursdays.
time is up. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Next in chambers, we have Michael Ponce.
Thank you, Mike Ponce.
Hi, welcome.
Hello. I just lost my screen. So, on page 2, under summary of results, it says this policy decisions made only by the city council with input from city staff and the community. I agree that we should have another meeting where the community is invited to look at over 200 fees. In 3 minutes, you can't, anybody from the community can't come up here and question any of the fees. A few people behind me or ahead of me already have been trying to do that and they only got to number 3. Also on page 9 under results overview, it says the results of this report are not a precise measurement. From what I can gather, looking at the expenditures for this last 3 months under matrix, there's $26,845 fee. I don't know if that's what this report costs or it costs more, but how long does the city think that we're gonna recoup that $26,000 by these fees? Later on in your your resolution, it says that the city manager or designee is further authorized to annually adjust acceptable fees administratively based upon the consumer price index, subject to any required public noticing and consent with approval with acceptable provisions of California law. My question is, could the city manager could have taken care of these fees without paying $26,000 for a consultant? I don't know. That's my question. It seems now that she can once the fee study is done, which in 5 to 7 years, when it's supposed to be done again, will save us the fee that we're paying for it now. Any fees that are higher than actual cost are a tax. needs, board approval. Councilman Friel stole my thunder on the yard sale permit. I've gotten multiple yard sale permits, and it's basically you walk in, you grab the paper, you fill it out. The lady at the desk is multitasking, answering the phone on the computer. You give her $10, she fills out a piece of paper, and you're done. 3 minutes at the most. That's a 300% increase in the fee. That's just a simple one. So we need time to look at all these fees. The community needs an opportunity to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment in chambers and online.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the council, public hearing is now closed. Back to the council, Councilmember Friels, questions, comments, concerns?
I'm still concerned about absorbing all this, and then it, I wish we could have had the public forum. I think that could have helped. I'm concerned about the increases. Like there's thing in here on dog licensing fee. We're going to charge a seeing eye dog. Somebody owns a seeing eye dog. It's like, what are we turning into here? And like I said, we need this fee schedule. We need this updated, but boy, there's some big hitters on here, and it's, it's rough. I wish we could, I'd like to have more time on it. And I'm sorry, I've only seen this twice, so I'm behind the curve on with all of you guys. So, and it's been a little bit of a weird 2 weeks. So that's just my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Well, for full transparency and listening to the public, I'm still 100% behind the fee review and increases. The process did, dictate or did state that we would have public input, and we did not have that. So how do we do that? That's important because there's a lot of concerns that are coming up. And if we did that, we would need to do that very quickly because we can't drag our feet on approving fee increases. Listening to everybody's input after I spoke, yeah, there are some concerns. We can dig a little bit deeper, but I think we have to go into this with the fact that if we all, communicate fairly and understanding that there has to be fee increases. We may not agree on all of it, but we can't table this for another 6 months. So my ask or my consideration is how do we make a public forum or review of this document? And $26,000, I understand that's a lot of money, but this is the groundwork for perhaps in the following year for staff to maybe follow up on that, or in 2 years. And this was a highly sensitive and very specialized program that put in all the numbers. So 26,000 seems like a lot, but I'm kind of thinking that's probably the going rate and probably cheaper than what we could have got, I'm thinking. But I feel like, how do we move forward? Because I don't want to sit up here and approve this tonight without an opportunity to have a structured, very fair, transparent, structured meeting with the public. How do we do that?
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Professional services are expensive. We don't know better than professionals. Our city manager doesn't know better than professionals. That's why we hire people like this, so that they can tell us, looking at current rules, current rates, the laws, what we should be looking at. We've had over a month to look at this. This is not a surprise, throw it on. I think it's closer, just doing napkin math, closer to 2 months to review. I do remember that we'd said we'd have a community meeting about that. Aside from doing that, having a community meeting about it, if I had to do any of these things, it would hurt to pay it, but professional services cost what they cost. So in favor of getting a quick community meeting. I don't know if that's what the special meeting we missed was, but I don't think that's what we asked for. It was a special meeting about this. We asked for a community engagement meeting type thing. And
Go ahead. Wrong one.
Wrong one. Apologies, I grabbed the wrong mic. We had a meeting scheduled for May 12th, and unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum. So we could not have the meeting that was scheduled. So that was our big opportunity we had two matters scheduled. One was the fee study, so that Kushbu could then give the same presentation she's giving tonight on the 12th, and we would get public input at that time. And we were also scheduled to start the discussion on the fiscal year 26-27 budget. So those two items. Here's the challenge. In order for the fees to fall in line with the new budget, we need time. You have to give proper notice. So we were trying to give 30 days. We do not have a public meeting scheduled for the month of July. So we unfortunately, by not having the meeting on the 12th, it kind of set the timeline back, not just for this fee schedule, but also for our budget discussions. So this is the perils with trying to schedule meetings. You have to have a quorum or you can't meet when the council members all have to be available. So we do have a backup meeting scheduled for next week, for next Tuesday, to start the budget discussion. And so so in essence, we do. However, Kushbu's time costs something too. And while, we are paying Matrix for this study and it's a very important thing, we can't keep asking her to come back and back and back. So I'm a little concerned about that, but that's not to say that we couldn't have this discussion without her.
That would be my question. And this is not dismissive of you, Miss Ingle. Sorry, I'm really bad and I'm tired as all hell right now. I appreciate this professionally prepared report, and I think people aren't asking for more of her time to talk about it. We're talking about how we use this report. And so if the timing lines up, like last week's meeting, whatever it was on the 12th, we got hit hard for getting a quorum amongst the council with life and events. But if we can bring this for discussion and approval next week at the meeting, does that work? I'm throwing things against the wall. Like, for example, if we at next week's meeting say we talked about it, we looked through it, and we're like, hey, what does it look like to do 90% recovery or 80% recovery? Could we approve this fee schedule with the caveat that it's at some different percentage point at next week's meeting as an amendment?
I'm not sure we're going to be able to get all of that done in the same meeting because we also have, just being realistic, we also have a budget discussion to have. And that's a lot of topics in a like say a 2-hour window to have it.
We time box each one.
So we, potentially we have June, but then we have, I think, 4 public hearings because we have county projects or county things that need to come before the council in the month of June. So we will do our best to.
Yeah, my suggestion would be to time box it, like giving the community some time as opposed to no time would be preferred.
Technically, this is a public hearing right now. I'm not saying, anything other than we are right now having one. And technically last time we did public comment. So that is also public participation. We can most certainly squeeze it in and take all the comments from today, take another look, and we can work with Kushbu behind the scenes to bring.
And the format of that meeting is still 3 minutes for, even if we do this next week, it's still 3 minutes for each. I'm asking for clarity's sake.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Also want to point attention to us on the dais and maybe the public, but on page 2 of this report, just so that you know that there is I think, you know, safety guards here. It says the city council, this is on page 2 of the report in summary before the background. It says the city sorry. The city council retains discretion to establish fees at levels below full cost recovery where policy considerations, community benefit, affordability, or economic development objectives support partial subsidization. So for me, that's important that when we do arrive at that final approval of these fees, that we have that we can, at our discretion, use. So that is, I think, something that we give back to the community and keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. You good? For now? Thank you. I appreciate all the time and energy that's been put into this. We have seen it. We have tried to see it 3 times. We did have, as our city manager stated, we did have public comment on the first one. This was sent out as a packet to everybody and on our website for the second one. And we had a public hearing just now. We have been not bleeding, but we are not recovering the cost of what it takes to do the job that the city needs to do. We have a budget to get through. Our fees have been set so low for so long. It's shame on all the councils and the city managers who came before us, but this is where we're at right now. We have to start moving forward with getting these done, and we can at any time reevaluate line 7 or line 24 or whatever fee we deem appropriate to look at, but we have to have a baseline. And this is our baseline. If we get enough public comment in about how many windows I want to put in my house and how much every single window is going to cost me to do. I mean, I looked at that, light fixtures, windows, things add up, but so does the time for our city personnel to review all of this stuff and to go back and review it again when they have another thing coming right behind it. So I hear concerns. I understand the concerns, but we need a baseline, and the sooner we get that baseline in, the sooner we can have more conversations about how to adjust them. With that, any finals? Because it is now time to make a motion to approve a resolution updating the City of San Juan Bautista master fee schedule for the city services. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm glad that Councilmember Morslip has pointed out that fact. I think I was so starstruck by all the dollar figures in this chart. I think that's a good idea. Would it come as, for example, we use the windows that were being put, you know, if you're putting 3 windows in a house, it seems like it's awful lot of money for somebody just to rubber stamp the permit. But is that something they can appeal? And can the resident that's doing, I mean, can they still appeal that to us with this current
They
setup?
appeal the fees?
The fees, yes.
I'd have to look at the code specifically because all these things are based on what the code allows. And so I understand the cost, the baseline cost is high, but you have to also understand that like we are doing this stuff in-house. And so we have to have professionals with the certifications and the qualifications to know what it is that they're looking at. So I'd have to check the code. I'm sure there are appeals, whether you can appeal the fee. And I think I saw Kushbu's camera go on. So if she knows the answer, share it with us.
Yeah. So I would say typically what most councils will do, like the Mayor was stating is that when they adopt the fee schedule does get put into place. It does take 60 days typically for fees to go into effect, which is why there is this longer noticing period. So, if people have projects or other things, they can make sure they pull their permits prior to these new fees being into effect. Once the fees are into effect, the residents can come to you all, and it's not necessarily that they can say they don't want to pay the fee or appeal the fee, but they can come to you and say, we think this fee is still too high, or we don't think this was the right amount. And then you as council at the time then have the prerogative to say, okay, we'd like to revisit the fee schedule. And for these 5 line items, these 10 line items, we'd like to reduce them or change the fee amount to be this amount. So that's a prerogative that many councils will undertake, especially if they haven't had the chance to implement a fee schedule like this in the past, that they start with implementing it and then seeing kind of what the feedback is once it's actually in place, and people have a chance to look at what is the total fee being assessed for different types of projects. So I know like some of the residents brought up concerns about some of the large dollar values. A lot of the fees in planning are deposits, which means that you ultimately only get billed the time that staff spend on it. So if they spend any less time on it, those applicants will get a refund. So it's not the city keeps any excess money. So I think those are all things to take into consideration that will come to light once you actually implement the fee schedule.
Thank you.
Okay. Just one more. This has happened to us in the past where we've been told, hey, we got to push this through. We're going to push this through because if not, we're not going to be able to do our budget, or, we're going to miss a grant timeline or something like that. That puts a lot of weight on me, puts a lot of pressure on me, because I want to make an educated decision, and it's somewhat not fair that I'm being told if we don't do this now, then we're not going to get, we're going to be delayed on our budget. I mean, we just started this last month, and it's huge. So that irks me a bit, but thank you.
So my question for Ms. Engel, and maybe city manager. So I just thought of another question in regards to how the fees were structured outside of the consideration of staff benefits, staff hourly wages, the personnel that is trained and has the credentials that touches that permit or processes that. But considering that our town is under 3,000 people, this was measured against larger cities. So my question or my concern is that I'm assuming that if they're much larger than our little less than 3,000 people populated town, they probably have a bigger stack of permits and whatnot to process. And this is no disrespect to our staff that's here in planning or any department that's going to do any of this work, but it's a considerably less amount of work on a person's desk or a task. So is that also being looked at in factoring that maybe we can go lower?
So under state law, when you look at every single fee, you're looking at truly what does it take to provide that particular service. And when we're looking at the time and cost, it's specific to San Juan Bautista staff time and effort and staff costs associated with it. So yes, sometimes in larger jurisdictions, you can have more permits being processed, but that doesn't mean it takes them less time or more time. It just depends on what they're paying their employees. But a lot of, if you notice in the report, we also put in whether a lot of these jurisdictions have done fee evaluations, and a lot of them haven't done recent fee studies. So they may not even know themselves what the true cost is. So when we're looking at this to meet that state compliance requirement, we're really truly strictly looking at what does it take San Juan Bautista to process each individual fee line item, and not that it's, that this particular jurisdiction next to you takes 10 minutes and this other jurisdiction next to you only takes 5 minutes. We're really looking at what does it take staff to do that per the city's code requirements, per the city's ordinances, per what the city needs to do to meet those regulatory components.
Any finals? We're good. Okay, yes, please, go ahead.
Um, I, th- I think I'm just gonna make sure I clarify that
Go ahead.
we can bring this back one more time. And then let's see where we are next week. And then if we need to, we'll bring it in June. We'll figure it out. We'll do the best we can, but we want to make sure the community is heard and that we've satisfied all of the questions that you have on this.
So we're talking, can I have a date?
May 26th
26th?
would be it'll be a study session. Just review. We will take a look closely at these other fees that you've brought up tonight. We'll bring recommendations. You guys will have an open discussion, take public comment. And then we'll see where we are, but then we'll find a way to bring it back in June. It's going to be a lot of items in June. I'm absolutely not like kidding around when I say that. It's a big meeting.
But what you're saying is if we have that discussion next week, we cannot approve it that night.
That's what I'm saying. Because I think we need time to make sure we've addressed all the issues and updated if we need to update anything at that time.
So it could come before the council on June 16th for approval.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Hearing all this and looking back through the time that everyone has had to look at this and hearing what Kushbu is saying about reviewing specific line items, getting it whole, like coming around to approving it as an entirety, and then hearing folks about the specific items and then bringing back up adjustments afterwards, like how much more work is that? In your professional opinion?
It really depends on what the adjustments actually are. You know, they could be simple adjustments, in which case the staff will work directly with Kushbu on what those are. I don't think she's Kushbu can correct me, but I don't think she has the spreadsheets dialed in at this point. So this is really what the will of the council is, and what the concerns were.
Yeah, because really we've already calculated the total cost. So really at this point, what it would be is that basically you would be going back, and once the fees are in effect, if there is still issues with it, with the actual application of it, and there's concerns from the constituents, then it's really just coming back and saying, this fees total cost was calculated, $49 for a baseball field per hour. But, hearing from the community, hearing who's renting these fields, it's really become a burden. And we as council would like to propose it at, $10 an hour. So it's below that kind of baseline cost that's already been calculated. So you have a lot of discretion to propose it at a lower amount at a later date. I think really what the goal of this is to allow everybody at the city to truly see what the impact of this new schedule is once it's actually in place. Because even though there are some line items that seem large, the actual fee schedule is very comprehensive in terms of we're minimizing a lot of tack on fees and things like that, especially on the building side of things. So those window permits are truly for a standalone window permit. If you're building a brand new home, you're not paying for every single window. You're not paying for every single outlet. It's already built into the base building permit fee. So those are all things that once the fee schedule goes into effect and people start actually paying their new fee amounts, they'll see the difference and they'll be able to know, yes, this is actually an impact to us, or no, this actually is a better situation for us.
Yeah. And to be stating what I've been rolling around and kind of stating, this woman has gone through and effectively said, this is what it costs to do a thing. We either are, when we say something's too expensive, we're either calling her a liar or we're saying and asking the city to subsidize that cost. This cost is not a tax. This is what it costs for us to break even. So.
Yeah. I agree with that last statement. This is a fully burdened hourly rate that we're trying to recoup instead of essentially doing business for free here. So if it's the will of the council, we'll throw this over for a 2-hour public hearing on the 26th for a final vote on June 16th. Yes,
Yes.
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 Okay. Kushbu, once again, appreciate your time. I know you have another meeting to go to, so thank you very much for spending this amount with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you. Bye.
Thank you very much to Ashley and the city for throwing this out one more time. Or throwing this around. Weed abatement. We have a public hearing on weed abatement. City manager, do you want to start us off on this? And I apologize if I can make one more comment on this subject, on the previous subject. All of y'all who are sitting in here, please take the time that you need to do this and be prepared for next week, and tell your friends and family, because that's going to be like the opportunity to get it in. Well, we have meetings already scheduled for 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So it's either going to be 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, depending on when we have our budget meeting. We'll leave that up to the city manager, but we do have a meeting scheduled for 6 o'clock next Tuesday, May 26th. Thank you. I apologize, all you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Second public hearing, weed abatement. Deputy Marshal Bedolla is on the call.
Hi, this is Charlie. How are you?
Hi, welcome. Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
patience.
No problem. Thank you. This is the approve a resolution declaring the conditions of certain properties to constitute a public nuisance, ordering the abatement of weeds therein, to conduct the public hearing for the receipt of objections. So we had our first meeting where we sent out the letters. Now, after the meeting it's voted on today, then we can go ahead and start mitigating the weeds that haven't gotten taken care of. I went through there this weekend. I did see quite a few that hadn't been taken care of. Then I cruised through there today, and a lot of it did get taken care of. So we're on top of it. I'm gonna go out and resend a couple letters because we have had some regrowth on some stuff that was already taken care of. So rather than hit them with that citation or the lien or the taking care of it ourselves, we'll work with them, and they usually respond pretty well and pretty fast. But after today, then we can go ahead and start the process of getting them mitigated if they didn't take care of them. And there is a couple ones that I'll work with code enforcement on that seem to be our problems every year. And that's it.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns from the council? Councilmember Friels.
Thanks, Chief, for taking care of this. I did notice a lot of people were knocking things out. There's one on here. It's San Benito Agricultural Land Trust on 0 San Juan Highway. Is that the old Nyland Ranch across the highway?
There is a couple over there. I have to see it itself, but those probably the vacant lots on this side of the highway, right close to the intersection of Monterey, if that's what it is.
Okay.
It's not across the highway, so it's everything on this side.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know the Ag Trust had owned property in the city limits. That's news. But okay, thank you.
I'll reevaluate just to make sure, but there was a
Okay.
couple. There was one property that didn't get done as I went through there today by the gas station, and is that where that might be where it's at?
Okay, that's that would be the Health Foundation.
The one next to the gas station? The
Across the
swimming
street.
pool? Oh,
Where
across the
where-
street.
Yeah, where the Health
San Benito
Foundation
Health
is. There's-
Foundation.
Yeah, there's one lot back
Oh,
there
yeah.
that didn't get done.
The Health Foundation owns both of those lots across the street.
Perfect.
Okay,
And we have no problems with going and adjusting these too. So there has been some adjustments that we've had and removed them from there too, and that's not a problem.
No, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Just a question on the addresses. There's several that say 03rd, 04th. There isn't like a numbered address. Why is that?
I don't think they do have addresses on them, and I believe we go by the APN numbers off the GIS.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions either. Opening it to public comment, or the public hearing, sorry. Public hearing is now open.
Okay, in chambers, we have Chris Mortarana. You may now approach the podium.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi, welcome.
Good evening. Once again, the lot where my office is on the list. I have mowed it. I'm wondering, it didn't appear that the list was altered in the packet, so I just wanted to be sure I got deleted from the list and didn't get a notice of nuisance for $987 in the new fee schedule. I'm not exaggerating. That is the new
Personal nuisance.
that I can't help you with. So if Chief Bedoya could address whether or not the Angela Furpo Trust on, I believe on Franklin or Fort
Yeah,
Street.
that's 0 Franklin. Chief, I don't know if you see this 002-470-008-000 Furpo Angela Living Trust. Has that been removed?
Yeah, Chris, can you email us at hfdprevention@hollister.ca.gov just so we can confirm it tomorrow? Or give a call to our station, 831-636-4325, and then we could take care of that tomorrow.
Give that phone number one more time, 636
4325.
4325. Thank you. It will appear at the bottom of your screen.
Option 1. Press option 1.
Thank you very much, and thank you to council. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
got it. Thank you.
Next in chambers, we have Michael Ponce. You may now approach the podium.
Thank you. Hi, welcome.
Hello, thank you. I think this is a great program because some lots around town were getting real shabby. And I've noticed that they are getting cleaned up. But I see the city of San Juan on here 5 times.
4.
And I kind of hate to say this because this is Public Work Month, Appreciation Month. But if you look at the city yard, how can the city ask the public to clean their properties when the city yard weeds are this tall? Sorry to say this, employees that walk in that door every day and see it. Let's give the rest of the public inspiration to clean their yards by cleaning our yard. Another area that I believe, I'm almost positive the city owns, is the entrance to San Juan on the Alameda on the east side, about a school property. There's a little portion right there where the weeds are this high. I would say that would be a fire hazard, so I think that should probably be cleaned up also. And it's an entrance to our town. It'll look a lot better if it's cleaned up. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment in chambers and online.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. Back to the council, Councilmember Frails.
No, I'm good. Thanks. I was just laughing at the.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
No comment.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
No comments.
Thank you. Chief, thank you very much for your services.
Thank you. And just as a reminder, on that, I mean, it was kind of the segue into it. We only do the empty lots. So if there's a building, we don't do that. But if you give us a call at the 831-636-4325, option 1, if there's an overgrown lot or anything, we'll still work with code enforcement and we'll send out a letter to get that mitigated too before code enforcement get out there. So a lot of times someone just needs a reminder and we could take care of that too. So we do the lots that are occupied too, but we don't put the liens on them, but we send them a courtesy letter
that way they can take care of the weeds on there.
Thank you. And I understand the optics of the city, but we are held to the same regulations as everybody else. And again, that number, as it appears at the bottom of your screen, 831-636-4325, option 1. May I have a motion to approve a resolution declaring the condition of certain properties to constitute a public nuisance, ordering the abatement of weeds thereon, and conduct a public hearing for the receipt of objections?
So moved.
Thank you. May I?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Bathia, seconded by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Of course, Councilmember Aranda, Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathian,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you very much. Item C is continued to the June 16th meeting. Consent. There are 10 items on the consent agenda. Would any council member wish to pull an item on the consent agenda? Councilmember Friels.
Thank you.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
No, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
No, thank you.
Thank you. I don't either. Do we have anybody from the public wishing to pull an item on the consent agenda? Do you have a speaker card? Thank you.
Michael Ponce, you may now approach the podium.
Thank you. I like the skid marks. Which item would you like to pull?
Department
hang-
updates, I just want to hear the,
hang on. Aye. Okay. Any others?
no, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J?
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilmember Morris Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia. May I have a roll call, please?
Of course, Councilmember Aranda, Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathian,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Thanks to our engineer, Jerry Sanguinetti, our accountant, Wendy Cummins, and is for making this possible. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the work on the Valley Vista stuff. The ayes have it. Your questions, comments, concerns? You pulled it. You pulled the agenda item. What's up?
Yes, I pulled the agenda item because I want to hear the report.
Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. Department updates. Receive an update on public safety, public works, recreation, library, and community development. Not do that?
I have a clarifying question.
I do too.
Are we, the city attorney, are we allowed to have a presentation if it gets pulled off consent? Is that allowable?
Yeah.
Okay. Would the assistant to the city manager come up and just briefly summarize item 6I?
Good evening. So safety update. This is the same update that I've been given since I was hired here. So for sheriff's office, calls for service, I'll break it down by sheriff's office and fire department. Sheriff's office calls for service 33, emergency 911 calls. For last month, 46 non-emergency calls, 2 self-initiated contacts, which means the deputy gets out of his car and actually makes contact with somebody. 11 reports taken. So here's a breakdown of them: 2 assaults, 1 child protective related case, 1 brandishing, 1 vehicle burglary, 1 juvenile issue, 1 unlicensed driver citation, and 1 coroner case, and 3 traffic citations. In addition, I put on here that CHP has been stopping through the city and making a couple oversized vehicle stops and writing citations. That's the sheriff's part. We also lost the deputy last month. I believe it was, I can't believe the exact date in April, but due to a shortage of staffing, we no longer have a deputy from Wednesday through Saturday. So these numbers are going to expect these numbers to go down. Calls for service will probably remain about the same. But as far as self-initiated and traffic citations, probably go way down. You'll see a significant decrease in that. Any questions for the sheriff's office portion? No? Okay. Fire protection services. Again, we are, Hollister Fire Department provides us the 24-hour service, and that's currently at a 3-0 staffing. So we have 3 people on the engine. So staffing hasn't changed there. They responded to one structure fire at the Bluebird last month. That's downtown. Our building official also responded to that, as our planning official and others. It was isolated to one room within the building and was put out quickly. They also responded to 8 vehicle accidents outside the city limits. So again, they keep responding to outside the city limits for most of their calls for service. 13 medical calls and 1 inspection, which was a residential sprinkler. And as I put on here, just a part of the command staff is that we also worked with our county Office of Emergency Services to prepare for the rib cook-off. So that's been standardized now. For the last couple events, we worked with Office of Emergency Services, Fire Department, Sheriff's Office, and our internal staff to come up with an emergency plan for any large event within the city. So is that the part of it, or did you want to?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
May I have a, oh, sorry, I forgot community development or planning.
Real quick, just a few highlights. I just want to mention to the public that there are 2 more meetings that we are having for planning. One is our Historic Preservation Committee meeting is going to be here in the chambers on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And then additionally, next Wednesday on the 27th, we will have our next Urban Growth Boundary Sphere of Influence Committee meeting on our infill general plan amendment. We've been busy with building. We've issued 4 building permits. 2 were already finalized. We are reviewing an ADU application. We've done 10 building inspections last month, and then we issued 6 business license. I just want to note for the public that your business license is due by the end of June. It's annual. You have to do it every year. If you haven't, please come in and see us. We will help you get it done. Code enforcement. Thank you to our code enforcement officer. He is here in the chambers with us, and he has been very busy. He's been marring all of our open cases. 1 case involving work performed without permits. There's been 4 courtesy notices issued. Just to reiterate, we have, if it is not a building violation, we have implemented a courtesy policy that gives them an opportunity to come in and comply without going into a violation. And again, that's us really trying to work with the public to just come into compliance and be a good neighbor. So just kind of bridging that gap. 3 notice of violations. We've closed 2 cases. That is like key for this department, is that we're working on actually closing cases. And so that's a big thank you to our staff that we have. 10 vehicle green tags. Green tag is at first like, hey, you can't be parked here. You need to move. This is like your courtesy notice. And so we're getting good compliance. And then relocation of 2 trailers, 2 boats, 1 vehicle, 1 travel trailer off the public streets. Specifically, we were out there for the rib cook-off. We had code enforcement all day Friday, Saturday, planning out there all day Sunday. So staff is out there marring, and 10 parking violations were issued. And then we also, our code enforcement is working on learning inspections. And so I've been out on 10 building inspections. And so those are the quick updates. If there's any particular questions or you just have questions in general about our community development department, you can come see me anytime. I love to talk with the public. I love to talk in general. So let's talk.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve item 6I? I'm sorry, you pulled it to hear the report. That's what you said. Do we do that?
No, typically when we pull an item, we discuss it. We don't hear a report. That's not true.
And we asked questions about it and no, we don't. Go ahead, city attorney.
Members of the public are generally allowed to speak on the item during this discussion period.
Okay. We heard that. Thank you. May I have a motion? So I'm sorry. Does he get to discuss it further now?
He does.
Apologies. Welcome to the podium.
Thank you for that clarification. So under the report, under recreation, I have been working with Roy, and thank you very much, Roy, for trying to figure out a standard operating procedure for the use of Abbey Park. And we have been in contact over numerous times, and he sent me a sports group use procedure. I just want to know if that is an existing procedure on the books right now, or is this something that he's working on to put on the books? Because we've been having recent problems with the use of Abbey Park, and I'd like to get this cleared up in a fair way that everybody gets to use the park. So I would hopefully like to get an answer on that. Thank you.
What's the name of the document you
It
cited?
is Abbey Park Sports Group Use Procedure. City of San Juan Bautista.
Sports
Yeah.
Group. Sports group.
And it came to me as a SOP, Standing Operating Procedure.
Sports group.
Sports Group Use Procedure.
Use procedure.
Abbey Park. Abbey Park dash Sports Group Use Procedure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You ask them what are the issues they're having?
Are we having a discussion on this?
No, no
No.
discussion between the,
Yeah, that's what, thank
not at
you.
all. No, you
Thank
can
you.
discuss it amongst yourselves. You can't, there's no back and forth.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 6I?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Of course, Councilmember Aranda, Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Thank you. Informational items, city manager report.
I'm on here as city manager report.
You're on my list.
News to
You're
me.
on my list. Hang on one second.
I am 7A. I apologize, council. I was too busy prepping for this gigantic packet in the fee study tonight. Every agenda, technically, for the record, these are my reports. My name's on every single one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Reports from city council representatives to regional organizations and committees. Councilmember Morris Lopez. Oh, I already got it.
Oh, let's see. Well, is this pending or attended?
Attended.
Since last meeting?
I think everything was canceled.
Yeah, nothing to report.
All our meetings were canceled. not our meetings to choose to cancel, but they were all canceled. Oh, thank you for that. I did attend a fire district, fire protection advisory committee meeting. And we discussed, again, a fire district. Baker Tilly is our consultant for that. And they had gone to a plethora of people asking questions on their ideas of a fire district. And there are several people on the committee that had not responded to multiple attempts to ask these questions. I think the three members, not from San Juan, who had not previously answered, I think they all finally answered. So Baker Tilly is now compiling the document for to bring back. I don't remember when the next date is, but to a theater near us soon. That was it. City council announcements. Nothing.
So I'm on the COG board, which is the Council of Governments, and our main work that we do is the City of Hollister, City of San Juan, and County Board of Supervisors representatives. And we meet with Caltrans staff and also COG staff. So there's a pending meeting this Thursday at 4 p.m. They're hybrid, so you can appear in person, you can Zoom on. But why I'm reaching out to you is that I have brought up, like a broken record, the Caltrans, I feel blatant, I think, neglect or kind of inattention to the fact that they've created a hazard. That left-hand turn lane coming from Hollister going west, if you're on 156 that goes on to Mission Vineyard Road, there is a left turnout lane. But where I see the problem, and someone addressed about 8 accidents, I think Assistant City Manager Roy addressed that, the calls, those are all most of the time motor vehicle accidents. And what's the major cause of those? Speed. So I have come, like a broken record, repeatedly asked Caltrans to look at the speed limit because that is a highway, it's not an expressway. And if we all experience this, going west, going east towards Hollister, when people leave our stoplight at the Alameda and 156, they just like gun it from that point on. And there's an abrupt right turn lane now that Caltrans did onto Mission Vineyard Road going to the retreat, but there is no right turn lane. You just have to turn abruptly from 156. And when you've got cars behind you going at, already picking up speed, and then when you make the turn, if you notice, there's the bridge that they fixed, but then there's a split that goes on the backside of that property that belongs to the Diaz family, and there's barely a way to maneuver to go straight to St. Francis Retreat. It's very, very dangerous. So why am I bringing this up? If you guys can zoom into this meeting or the next meeting and just attest to this, because this is our neck of the woods. And, sooner or later, someone's going to get rear-ended. There's going to be an accident. And you can just take a slow ride out there one day, maybe when there's not a lot of traffic, when it's not commuter, and you can check out the maneuver. And it's very, very dangerous. And I think Councilmember Friels can attest to that. No, it's not an expressway. It's a highway.
That was the original.
Yeah.
It was the 156 expressway
No,
was the original.
we're technically a highway because our speed limit is capped at 65. Anything over that is an expressway, and we're 4 lanes, 2 going east, 2 going west. But you can see that turn on to Mission Vineyard. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia? Nothing? Thank you. Three things. Rainbow Run is Saturday, June 6th. Los Padrinos is Saturday, June 27th. San Juan Day, August 9th, which is a Sunday. Please tell me I'm at the end. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn, Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Aranda, Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes,
motion passed.
it is 8:12. Thank you very much for your service tonight. You are wonderful.